What's up, everyone? It's your girl Shay here. Welcome to my channel if you are new, and welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. And as you can see by the title of today's video, I'm actually talking about the new anime convention that actually just happened in New York. Actually, the convention itself is not news, but the news regarding the convention. So basically the news at the convention is that a guy basically went to the convention, and then when he went home, he then tested positive for COVID, although he most so, I guess, tested positive for the new variant that is out, the Omicron variant. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I'm probably not, but all I know is that he tested positive. And of course the news got a hold of this because basically this guy was pretty much patient zero, and he had ended up going to the New York Anime Convention where it had about 53,000 people in attendance. So of course that caused a lot of people to go out and get tested to see whether or not they also had tested positive for this COVID variant. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this is because of the simple fact that a lot of conventions are now starting back up again, especially more so for like in-person conventions. And this is because things are definitely not back to normal, but they are a little bit better compared to how they were in 2020. So more conventions are doing in-person things compared to them doing a lot of it online like they had last year in 2020, and I would say also at the beginning of 2021. So the reason why overall I want to talk about this is because of the fact that I'm wondering if, due to this happening, if people are feeling any apprehension about going to conventions because of this happening. Now, me personally, I don't feel apprehension about going to conventions because of this happening. Now, let me explain why. And that's because of the mandates that are in place. When I looked up on the New York Anime Convention's website concerning their vaccination mandates as well as masks, they did ask for everyone to be wearing a mask when they were inside, as well as when it came to vaccinations. To be able to go, you had to show that you had proof of vaccination status. So you had to have your vaccination card with you, and it had to show that you had been vaccinated for COVID-19. Granted, it did say that you had to have at least one dose. So you didn't have to be fully vaccinated with two. You did at least have to have one. Now, this was if you were over the age of 12. If you were 12 or under and you were attending, you had to show proof of a negative COVID test in order for you to go. I'm unsure of like when you had to have that negative COVID test or show proof that you had taken it. Because I do know that for me, when I recently just went to a concert, at the concert, you either had to show proof of you being vaccinated, and if you were not vaccinated due to your own reasons, you had to show that you had a negative COVID test at least 72 hours before the concert. So that was their whole thing. I don't know how it happened at the convention though. So yeah. So basically the guy that went there was fully vaccinated for COVID. He as well as had his booster, and he did talk about that when he basically came back from the convention, he was feeling okay. He did though say he had a little bit of a runny nose and he had a little bit of a cough, and he kind of basically felt extremely tired, which as many of us who have gone to conventions, we've all kind of joked around that when we come home we get the con flu, which is basically just because of the fact that a lot of people at these conventions are disgusting and don't know how to cough or sneeze into their arm or whatever. So a lot of times when we leave and we go back home, some of us do end up getting sick just because we're around a lot of people. So I believe he might have chalked it up to that, but he took an at-home COVID test, which showed that he had tested positive. He then went to a clinic or went to an actual testing site, because with at-home tests, you could get a false positive. So you do have to go to another place to make sure and verify that that is an actual positive. And they did verify that he indeed did test positive. And then of course he let his friends know, and then his friends, I think some of his friends also test positive as well. But he did go on to say that because of him being vaccinated, he basically didn't get all that sick and he didn't feel all that bad, and he recovered fairly quickly. He's chalking it up to him getting the vaccine, and I probably have to agree with him on this one. I do know that some people feel very differently when it comes to like COVID vaccines and everything else like that, and a lot of people don't like the mandates that these conventions are putting out there, but they're putting them out there for a reason, and that is to keep us safe, or as safe as possible, and to also keep others safe, or for us to keep others safe when we go back home from said convention or wherever we were at. So I'm curious for a lot of people though, if people after hearing this happening, are they weary, or are they a little bit more apprehensive, or have they always been apprehensive about going to conventions after everything that has taken place? And because of those that have gone, we know of some of the unsanitary things that happen at anime conventions, more so with the people, not so much as far as like the surroundings and stuff like that. But I can say for me personally, I don't feel apprehensive about going to conventions because of this happening, only because of the fact of the matter that this guy went, he was fully vaccinated, even though he still got sick with it. He did show that the vaccine basically is working because he didn't get as sick as I'm assuming he probably would have if he hadn't have been vaccinated, but also because of the fact that the convention did have a lot of mandates in place. And I feel like those mandates make me at least feel a lot better, because I do know that a lot of us don't want to still stay, locked up inside and stuff like that. So we do want to go out and spend time with friends or hang out with groups of people that we haven't seen in a really long time and go back to doing what we used to do before, while probably not normal as it was before, but probably with a little bit more like restrictions in place to keep us pretty much safe. So I do know, or I'm going to assume that depending on whatever state you're in, the mandates will probably be completely different. I am located in California, so our mandates are a little bit more stricter. So like just on an everyday basis, we still have to wear masks going into stores. Where I work, I still have to wear a mask at work, still try to stay as socially distanced as possible. And, that's basically how it is here. So I'm going to assume that with most conventions, it's going to be pretty much the same exact thing. You got to show proof that you are vaccinated, or you have to show proof of a negative COVID test. I do know that it seems in New York, they're a bit more stricter, where it's not just like a negative COVID test. If you are of a certain age, you have to be vaccinated. The only thing I will say though about the conventions aspect is the fact that they said you had to have one dose at least, whereas I know for the concert I went to, you had to be fully vaccinated, and you had to have been fully vaccinated, like at least a week or two from your last shot, so that they know that it actually had worked and it wasn't like still in the process. Because I do know that they have said with the shot, once you get it, there's a little bit of a like 2-week time period where your immune system is just basically doing what it needs to do. So basically that's why they say to wait at least a little bit before you go around people once you've been fully vaccinated. So I don't feel apprehensive about it, and I do know that probably going to be some people in my comments that are probably going to say, well, this guy was fully vaccinated and he still got sick with it. Isn't the vaccine supposed to work? The vaccine, basically how it works, and from all the stuff I've looked up online and through very credible sources, is that the vaccine basically works like the flu shot. With the flu shot, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get sick. It just means that if you get sick, you will not get as sick as you would have if you hadn't have gotten the shot at all. And that's basically what the COVID vaccine is. It's making sure that if you do catch it, your immune system can recognize it and be like, okay, I've seen this said germ before, so I know how to attack it. I know how to make the body better a lot faster than I would if I would have never been introduced to it. So me personally, I don't feel like it's going to hinder me from going to conventions after hearing about this happening. I feel like it's probably going to make it where most other conventions are going to keep these, mandates where they're asking people to wear masks. People are probably going to have their own qualms and their own issues based on their own preferences when it comes to the vaccine and stuff like that. So my whole thing is, if you're in my comments talking about, well, if they continue with these mandates, I'm just not going to go, then don't go to the conventions. No one's forcing me to go. None of these conventions are like, hey, we're gonna hate that you're not here. No, they're just going to continue to do what they usually do, because there are a lot of people that are vaccinated that are still going to go and everything else like that. So yeah, but I want to really talk about this because of the fact that this is the first time that I've seen where the anime community itself has had themselves in the news because of COVID, beyond conventions being canceled, but linking somebody going to a convention who has then gotten sick. Now, I will say also in the articles that I read that the guy never said that he got it from the convention. It seems that he may have gotten it from the New York area, but was at the convention itself. So I just want to make sure I let people know that it wasn't that someone else at the convention got him sick. He probably was out and got sick, because as many of us know, when you're out, you go out to eat, you touch stuff, sometimes you touch your eyes or you touch your mouth or you're eating and stuff like that, and that's how he most likely picked it up. But he also happened to be at the convention that weekend, which also caused him to probably spread it to others. Seems like it didn't spread too much. I think there were a few other positive cases, but I haven't really read much else concerning what is the aftermath of that. The guy's pretty much better now, so good for him. I'm glad he's well. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. I know this video probably might be at least a little bit demonetized because of me talking about COVID, but that's all right. I just felt like this was a really good discussion topic. So of course, comment below for me your thoughts and how you feel about this. I'll have links below to all my own social media accounts, my Instagram, my Twitter, and of course my TikTok. So feel free to follow me there as well. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you don't, you don't. But also please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys soon with a new video on Saturday. Like I always tell you guys, stay positive, stay nerdy in today's day and age, stay healthy, and of course, please stay safe. All right, you guys. Bye.